Well, hey everybody, and welcome to this midweek review. I am the Black Panther. No, I can't do that to you. I am Mr. John. I am actually wearing a Black Panther mask with sunglasses. Pretty cool, huh? And it goes along with our theme this week of how to be a superhero. We talked last week about how you can become a superhero by telling others about Jesus. But do you know that a lot of the responsibility that comes with telling people about Jesus comes from God and comes from us? Two different things, right? I'm going to go into the first one where we get help from God. Now, in superhero movies, it seems like all the superheroes kind of have something, right? Thor has his hammer, Captain America has his shield, Iron Man has his iron suit, Black Panther actually has his vibranium suit that he wears, so he has all those things. All the superheroes seem to have something. But did you know that we are given something that is to help us to be superheroes? And I can tell you, it is in the Bible. It tells us of this superpower that we are given, and it's given by God, and it's in John 14:16-8. And let me read this to you. Let me tell you this. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever. The Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you. Doesn't that blow your mind? You are given this shield of protection, this shield to help you in your abilities to tell the world about Jesus. Because when you come to know Jesus, God gives us the Holy Spirit. He puts the Holy Spirit in our heart. And something when the Holy Spirit happens changes us. We become this superhero. We become where we want to live a life according to Jesus. But the Holy Spirit does a lot more than that. The Holy Spirit is the voice of God that we hear in our ears when we're telling somebody about Jesus and all of a sudden we get clarity in what to say. It also gives us the ability when we read our Bible and we go, I understand this, what it means now. It gives you the understanding. And another thing that the Holy Spirit does is when you do this, you get the courage to stand up to your friends that may not know Jesus, that may be doing bad things, and you have the courage to stand up and say, no, I don't want to do that type of thing because it's not pleasing to God. So we see that God gives us an advocate, a person in us. Now, we kind of think of the Holy Spirit as this thing. The Holy Spirit is not a thing. The Holy Spirit is God. And we'll talk more about that next week. But God is living within us, in our hearts. And we continue to grow and get stronger in him, becoming more powerful for him. But God also has an expectation for us. Not only are we supposed to believe, we've talked about that we have to make that decision to believe that Jesus is who he says he is, and God is who he says he is. And when we do that, then God sends us the Holy Spirit. But there's more that we really need to do, and that is practice. Have you ever seen superheroes practice in the movies? Well, if you really think about it, yes, we do. We see like Iron Man, when he builds his suit, he practices taking off. Remember, he sits there and he's going all over the place, and he would crash, and the little machine would come up and put the fire extinguisher out on him. It got to be this running joke in the movie. But finally, he got to practice so much that he learned how to finally do it. I'm sure the first time Thor threw his hammer and put his hand to come back, he probably wasn't ready for it, and it may have missed or it hit him. You know, he is a superhero, so his hammer may have knocked him down, but it didn't hurt him. You know what I'm saying? But the superheroes had to practice what they did to become really great at the actions they do. I'm sure the first time they jumped out a window and did a superhero landing, I'm sure they probably hurt their knee, because that looks very painful to me. But I regress. Okay, let's get back on track here. Practicing makes us better. How many of you have been like, I know school's about to end and you probably are getting ready to take that big test, right? How many of you practiced? Studying is practicing. Like for me, I really had to practice spelling words. Oh my goodness, I am a horrible speller, and if I don't have it in my brain just locked in on how to spell something, I'll misspell it every time. I can't figure it out. I just am not a good speller. My phone has spell check, thank goodness, because if I sent you a text, you wouldn't be able to read it probably if it had my own original spelling. And I grew up playing sports. Like I played baseball and football, and like I had to practice all the time. Like I was a wide receiver. I was the guy that was way out on the side there and caught passes from the quarterback. But if I didn't know how to run the exact pattern that I'm supposed to run, practicing it over and over, doing different routes, you had to practice all the time. And I practice all the time catching. I used to make up my own drills that I used to do when I was a kid. I would throw my football on the roof and sit there and try to catch it without looking up. You know, the ball come down and I'd catch it. Then I would make games out of it, you know. You can do that when you practice. Listen, how often are we practicing our Bible? How often are we getting into our Bible and looking at verses, studying our Bible? Maybe it's learning a verse. You have to practice a verse, you know, over and over. Listen, I'm getting up in age. I hate to say it, I'm getting older. I'm getting to be an old superhero here. And it takes me a little bit longer now than it used to be when I was younger. My memory's not quite as good as it used to be to remember verses. So sometimes I'll have to look at a verse over and over and study it and do it again and again. And for me, I have to write it down. And of course, I have to make sure all the spelling is good. But I do that and practice. Because guys, I want to be the best superhero for God. And I think we all want to be that. And if we practice these things, we get that. What Jesus, not only Jesus and God have given us with the Holy Spirit inside, but when we know for sure that we know what we're talking about when we come to know Jesus, even though God's going to give us the words, sometimes it makes it us feel more comfortable when we are sure in our own brains, right? When I know a spelling word, and I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I rely on my brain to remember what that verse or that spelling word was spelled like, I get a confidence to do it. Now, with the confidence you have from the practicing you have, the Holy Spirit in you, man, do you believe that anything can hold you back? Oh man, no way. Hey, verses coming up. We're going to talk Trinity next week. I hope you are here. I just love that when we talk the Trinity. And guys, be a superhero. Tell somebody about Jesus today. Bye.
Our verse for this month is, "For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." 2 Timothy 1:7.